right. Shall we begin? Happy first day of autumn, first day of fall. And in honor of the first day of autumn, fall, today is National Falls Prevention Awareness Day and part of a larger Falls Prevention Awareness Week. Oh, I love the correlation there. I'm Wendy, as you all know. I'm a doctor of physical therapy with Waveney Life Care Network, which is also Visiting Nurse and Hospice is a new member of the Waveney Network. And I'm so glad to be here today with all of you to explore some falls prevention. And I'm very grateful to Holly and to Jason also for having me today here. So, as you know, I brought you some goodies, which you can get at the end. And I do understand there's an interest in practicing getting down to the floor and back up again. So I have that today as a pinnacle for what we can get to today. And I want to mention right away, as I say that I haven't worked with any of you before, and I want you to just make sure that you take care of yourself. You can think of this as a buffet or that I'm passing hors d'oeuvres. You don't have to take just take what's healthy and nutritious for you today. All right. And, I know we've met each other, but I wanted to, if you feel comfortable, do you all know each other? So we can introduce ourselves. So we have Aday, Virginia, and Nancy, and I'm Wendy. And if you feel comfortable, I'd love to know what particular interest what brought you here today. It may just be that you were walking down the hall and and decided to come in, but what particular reason brought you today? Very good. Aday, do you want to add anything? And that's great awareness. You have that awareness. Yeah. Yes. 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 I'm glad that you found some that work for you. Yeah, proper shoe wear is a very important point that we'll come back to today as well during our session. Yes. And would you like to add anything? Good. 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 Absolutely. Yes. 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 Absolutely. Okay. I'll come back to that too. We can talk about that too at the end, and I can give you some recommendations on places to follow up too for shoe wear. Can everybody hear me, by the way? Should I? What if how is this tone? Is that better? Okay, I'll try to stay at this level. All right, so there's a lot of research and statistics about falls, and I've included some of that here in some of the handouts, but I'd like to get right to playing a little game about coming up with a list of the reasons that people fall, and then I want to offer some practical solutions and things that you can practice and exercises that we'll go right into. So we will be doing exercises today. I started a whiteboard, whiteboard list here. And you see this? Is it dark enough that you can see? I also have my cheat sheet over here for anything that we leave out. Let's see if we can see. Oh, I think I have to turn this. Oh, this is a totally different scenario now. It's reverted to another screen. I'm just going to leave that. All right. So, two categories for reasons that people fall. So we have extrinsic, meaning something out in the environment, and then also intrinsic. And I gave one of the first examples, certain medications can make you feel dizzy or lightheaded. So let's fill in the rest of the list of why people might fall. Do you want to start making the list? Anybody? Oh, that's a solution. A foot gets caught in a handle. What handle are you referring to? Oh, yeah, so things on the floor. Yes, that's a great one. So we have items on the floor. Great. And so the idea would be to keep pathways clear. Make sure you have a clear pathway. Anything else that anybody wants to add? And I'm just going to mark these off too here as we go. Great. So those throw rugs. Then also edges of larger area rugs that are not, securely down. You can trip over. Yes. All right. So here we go. That's great. That's perfect. So the bars are the solution. I'm gonna say good. Good. So I'm going to say yes. All right. Yes, and the solution is bars. That's one of the solutions. Yes. And then also, if you have trouble stepping over a tub, you know, if you have a walk-in shower with a seat, yeah. How about anybody else want to add in? We're gonna keep there's a big list on both sides. So we'll only take, I don't know, 3 or 4 more minutes, and then I'll write everything. That's good. So we can put that over here on the internal side. You know, and that there are a bunch of different reasons that might happen. That could be your vision, right? Absolutely. So that's great. So I'm going to say vision, you know, hearing, you may not hear something. That's right. And that takes a while to repattern, just like building any other habit. You know, if you've been doing something at a certain speed, a certain way, you know, without really even thinking about it, it takes a while to repattern that. And you can put notes up, and then also think of it like a gift when you remember, not a punishment when you forget, or that you did something wrong when you forget, but oh, I remembered. That's great. And so that's a positive way to add the new habit in. All right. Speaking of things in the way, I am navigating this. So we have to be really careful about this. So you were talking about more emotional, psychological, and there's a whole host of reasons, you know, internally. It, you know, from depression. Absolutely. Yes. I'm going to start adding a few things. So impaired memory. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Science. Or and that was a great one that you added about if someone's in pain or they have another injury, that, you know, they're not necessarily focused entirely on, you know, they're distracted. Yes. And so then that adds into balance, of course, balance, and vertigo too, which is, has anybody ever experienced vertigo? It's very common. Yeah. Weakness, thinking about having an injury. Oh, good. Let's go over there. Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah, so things that Another a recommendation for stairs is don't leave anything on the stairs. Yes, that's another good one. Don't leave anything on the stairs. I'll add a few more in on the intrinsic side. You know, alcohol. You've gone out and had a cocktail. You know, be careful. And you know, previous falls also are an indication. You know, so if you've had one fall, that's an indication to be very careful about having another. And then also foot problems, whether you can't feel your feet, you know, some people have neuropathy or their impaired sensation in their feet, or the ability to move your ankles as well. Yes. Uneven surfaces, yeah. It's great to practice in a controlled way, and it is great if you are able to do it to vary terrain, but it also, yes, poses a danger. I'll go a little bit more into different surfaces, so wet surfaces. Yes, pets, especially young pets. Cords on the floor. Cords. And another idea about flooring, uneven flooring. So whether it's inside or outside, you know, a tile that's not quite right, inside or outside, uneven, I'll just say torn. Yeah. And thinking about cord oxygen tubing, if someone is home on oxygen, that's another. Shoes. Do we write shoes down yet? Oh, yes. My trip. Oh, it's awful. That's painful. Also, robes, long pants, in addition to shoes that catch. That's another one. And then coming back to the intrinsic side, we said foot problems, but then also, you know, heart, lung issues, kidney problems. That's a pretty comprehensive list. You know, it is pretty comprehensive, but of course, there's always more. But this gives us a good list to think about. All right. So keeping the list in mind, let's actually do some exercises that will bring awareness and help us. And we'll start sitting and then we'll slowly ramp up. So now I'm going to come back over here. Let's see if I'm on. Okay, I'm still on. I think he started over here. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. Oh, I also just like, thank you. I'm going to be here now with here, so I'm not going to be traversing the court anymore. I think if the cart just started out over there and then moved over here. All right, so first thing, seated. We'll think about the idea of getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, or I don't know if you've ever stood up quickly and felt dizzy, or for whatever reason that you might. We'll leave it there for now. That's all right. I'll bring it to you when it's time. Whatever, getting up quickly, turning quickly, all that we mentioned. So one nice way to manage that, when you go from lying down to sitting, maybe at the edge of the bed, don't just get up, but wait, lie down, you're sitting, wait, count to 10, take a few deep breaths. And then when you're sitting as well, you can squeeze your hands into clench and open. Let's all do this together. So this, now we're going to start doing. So sit up nice at the edge of your seat and clench and open your fists. Yes. And yeah, so 30 seconds is really the right. So I've even brought it down more so it doesn't seem like, so I say, count to 10, take a few deep breaths. But the idea is to bring awareness. You can also circle your hands, your wrists in both directions. Yeah. So we're trying to get circulation going. Feet as well, very important. Do some heel and toe lifts. That'll start to get the circulation going. It'll also mobilize your ankles. You can also do a little marching, kicking, but most important, ankles and wrists. Then once you're ready, now I'm going to go get your cane for you. Now you can stand up. Once you stand up, then you're so good, count to 30. I'm trained when I say that. So, it's just like I teach meditation as well. And I say, don't start out trying to do it for 30 minutes. Do it for 1 minute, and build from there. The idea is to bring awareness. So, once you're standing, don't just launch yourself off and walk. Once you're standing, wait, take some deep breaths. Count to 30. Right, exactly. That's another reason I brought it to 10. I know. But I will say this too. And incontinence is a real issue. And that's another reason that people have a rush. So it's also good to, if you need extra time to get to the bathroom, plan ahead. You do time where you go every hour to the bathroom and then reduce from there. So, don't wait till the last minute, rush to the bathroom. That's right, I know. I know, there's reality. So, what I'm trying to, and I'm going to say this once instead of naturally, so that you can, so that everybody can actually over time. Standing, there's a lot more to this. 3 key areas of balance and strength. Ankles, thighs. You see people walk when they needs lateral hip stability too for balance. You know, at this point, I may want to put a chair in front of everybody too. You have one behind you and one in front of you. A little bit of stability into you. It's really important to be able to pick up your toes, you know, and then roll over. So normalize gait. So just doing a simple toe lift, wonderful exercise. So stabilize and mobilize at the ankle. That's on. I've had that on one of the exercise sheets that I have for you. So keep doing your doing them lying, get your ankle lying down. Heel and toe lift and as well. It activates the muscle pump portion of the venous return system, so it helps to, you know, clear edema as well. Next, let's think about our outer hips. Just going back to the heel and toe lifts too. I'm just going to revisit briefly, so you can use your hands to do it. So I'm thinking of ways to advance these. You can cover your hands. At home, I like to have people do these at the sink or a counter. If you could cover your hands and do them, so that's another way to advance. You can also, you know, do one of the four for the a myriad of ways that we can do what's safe for you today. All right. Great. So remember, I'm making a lot of and it's showing what's next. All right, let's just come back to our posture. So even though we're going to be focusing on our thighs and our outer hips, it is important just to maintain general posture. So have your feet, you know, shoulder to hip width apart. A little tone in the low belly, a little corresponding tone in the upper back. So, you know, think about core strength and then the upper back. So chest is open, upper back toned. Whenever I talk about upper back being toned, I think of boxing, martial arts, you know, gymnasts, yoga, you know, boxing, anything that comes from a deep inner strength. And then lengthen through the crown of your head. All right, got nice posture. Next, let's add in just a little weight shifting, simple. And weight shifting is a great way to test the edges of your boundaries side to side. You can have your hands. This, we're working on outer hips now, but also just a little hips and balance. So this is sort of the first stage. I use this a lot for pre-gait or preparation for walking. You need to be able to weight shift and balance. So good. Yes. Next, and this movement can be a little, yeah, that's right. That's right. And we can also do front, back, diagonal. I'm going to leave it side to side just for today. So again, we've got so much to do. We've got so much to do. But sure, absolutely. Let's do so forward and back. There we go. Yeah. And then up to one side and back to the other side.
And forward and back.
And then diagonally. Yeah.
Okay, so we do one of these. Back and forth.
And you can do it. And then next, I'm going to show the motion of contracting the outer hip muscles, hip hike. So I'll show, I'm going to contract my standing leg side and lift this leg that's, so my left is going to contract, my right is going to lift. So you can hold on to this. I don't have a chair in front of me because I want you to be able to see me, but you can have a chair in front of you or wherever you need it. So I am, right, so, but you're not bending your knee or taking your leg. You're doing it beautifully, but I always like to just mention that you're not bending your knee or taking your leg out. It's all coming from the hip. That's a great strengthening exercise. And then try the other side. One side may be easier than the other. You're going to feel it on the leg that you're standing on. And the leg that you're standing on, you're also contracting. Yes, that side. So the other side is lifting. So the motion's all coming from the hip. No, it's not out to the side. That's different. We're going to do that next. So we did weight shifting. We did hip hiking. Next, we can do more of a side step. This is all about the lateral, the hip necessary for balance and for walking. Some, yes. I don't know if I have this particular, yes, I've got the side leg lift. And bring it back in. And then slowly, yeah. And remember your posture. We're still telling the belly, telling the upper back. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Feet are, hips shoulder width apart when we start. Yeah. So higher, you can use it. Hold on. Make sure you do them. These are all they're easy. We covered outer hip. Now we're going to go back to quad. I'm going to bring the chair behind me. Just make sure that your chair is where you I'm in the picture here. All right, so I've got my hands on a chair or the kitchen sink. And, many people have knee issues. So I want to offer something very gentle to start, and then we'll gradually go from there. So if you do tend to have a lot of knee pain for this exercise, you can bend your knees just an inch or a couple of inches. Think about getting your buttocks back behind you. So it's initiate the motion that you would sitting in the chair. Don't bend your knees and bring your hips forward. Send your hips back. Keep your chest lifted. And then come back up. Down and up a few times, thinking about getting the hips back. Next stage, go down and hold. Hold for a count of 5, a count of 10, a count of 30. if you, if you have that present. Right, so stay in a pain-free range. So what you can do if you go down and you start to hurt, come back up 1/2 inch. So, and then gradually deepen. See if you can gradually deepen. So as you bend your knees, you know, the muscles that support the knees activate. So that's enough to get some strengthening, stabilizing. So stay in that range if that's what's good for you. If you can do more, you know, quad strength is great for getting up out of a chair, going up and down stairs. So if it's safe and healthy for you, you can start to go more deeply. One nice way to play this is to go, you know, is there a place where you're going to start to lose your ability to control the controlled descent? You can reach your hands back. You can find a place where you're about to lose it and then hover there. So find that place where you feel like, oh, I'm going to lose it, but go up 1 inch and just stay there and hold for 5, a count of 5, a count of 10. Thank you. You know, if it feels good, you can sit down and come up. You know, repeated sit stand. You can do that holding on to the armrest. Another nice way is to have your arms out in front of you if you don't need the armrest. Just make sure the chair is where you really think it is. And even a little bit more difficult, hands across your chest. But if that's starting to hurt your knees, don't do anymore, especially for today. We can do this in a controlled way. Good. You know, another thing that you can do is put a pillow on top of the chair to make the seating surface higher, or put a couple of pillows, then one pillow, then no pillows. Also, just watch out your knees. There are a variety of reasons people do that, but try to keep the thighs, knees, shins parallel. If people compensate for strength by pushing their knees together, so just watch that as well. All right. So now comes the pinnacle portion. We have a few minutes to practice the stages of getting down to the floor and back up again. And I'm going to go get some of these pads. Bring awareness for Falls Prevention Awareness Day and Falls Prevention Awareness Week. But if I'm and all right, let me get it. Get down to the floor and back up again is the same way I teach someone to walk after they've had an accident or a surgery. Is a similar sequencing that I use in yoga classes, is similar to how a baby learns to walk for the first time. So it's all, you can connect all of it. All right, so let's see, best angle for this. Maybe I'll do sort of this way. All right, so the first stage, we're going to face our chairs. Put your hands, start with your feet width apart, and step 1 foot back. And you may just step 1 foot back a couple of inches or so. Yeah, good. So that's the first stage, stepping back and forward. Make sure. Yes, that's a good point. Well, you can certainly sneak in a little calf stretch if it feels good. One thing I will say as you're doing these lunges or beginnings of lunges, keep your feet wide, hip width apart as you step back. So good. Very good. Good, Nancy. That's good to add in. Yes, posture and alignment is always good to be aware of. So even though now we've got 1 foot back, 1 foot forward, you still have tone in your low belly. Your feet are hip width apart, shoulders nice and open, tone in the upper back, but shoulders not hunched up toward your ears. Yeah. If you go on one side, do the other side. You'll notice a difference side to side. And again, make sure your feet are wide apart. Don't end up on and maybe that's enough for today. I'll show you the next stage. So next, and I can help each of you, I'm going to put the mat on the ground where one knee would be. I'll have 1 foot forward. My front foot I'm going to keep pretty close to the chair. My back foot, I'm going to try to step it back as far as I can. It's very difficult if you've got your knees really close together. See how there's no room for me to do? So I'm going to step way back. I can help you with the placement of the padding. Maybe you need a thicker one. This one's a lot thicker than the ones I gave you. And then I believe the other side goes down, but you can try either way. You can do either way. The other, it's going to be a little bit more lumpy with that side up. Do you want one of these instead? This has more padding. Create the whole process. So there's one knee down. So the stage would be getting the knee down and getting it back up again. We can do it on both sides. Do this. And then we'll try the other side. Get the knee down and back up. Make sure you can get up again. That takes a lot of strength to do that. Next stage, one knee down, both knees down. You don't have to. You don't have to at all. We've done plenty already. I'm now just showing you. And I'll give you the handouts in case you ever need it. The idea is if you do have a fall, right? That you could make your way over to a couch or some very stable piece of furniture. Good. Then don't do it. We don't have to do all of this today. chair and one foot way back. So your feet wide, but the one back more toward you. Okay. And right. Yes. Pads and take. It could be. In sequence. And maybe much different than but where's this? Or that. Here's what two different variations of getting them. Very good. Yeah. Yeah. Move on. Or have stable surface. I know exactly my feet on your hands and knees. There's a great you exercise. But talking about a baby I need to yeah. All right. So right, so you'll notice that handout is actually from a company that does a medical life alert. Philips is one of the companies, yeah. Oh, wonderful. All right, do you want to see the whole thing? Ready? Okay. All right, so I'll do it on one side. And we can always do this again in stages and add more stages. So I have one knee down. I'm actually gonna move my knee over. Both knees down. Remember the lateral hip stability and control we talked about earlier? I need that also to do a side sit. I have to be able to make this action on both sides. We're not gonna do this. That's the next. So all those side leg lifts help you here. So next, now I'm long sitting, right? Or I'm on the floor. So getting over and getting on hands and knees, that's why exercises on hands and knees are so great. cat-cow. You've all done exercises on hands and knees. All right, so. Wonderful, and we have 2 minutes to spare. Do you want to practice any part of that again? Or is there, and are there any questions? You can expand your questions about anything. That's and then yes. You did it right away. Good job. Open mind. That's good. Yeah. Yeah. Idea.
Who's gonna fall? Nobody. Nobody.
And a little bit